The Browns have made a ton of signings this year, but when they made one signing, there was such a strong outpouring of support for this specific player that it kind of raised my eyebrow a bit and made me want to wonder what that all was about. Now, obviously, I'm talking about when the Browns signed Anthony Walker in free agency, the former Colts. And to try to understand that better, I'm going to bring in fellow YouTuber. He covers the Colts, Lawrence Owen. How you doing, man?
Hey, thanks for having me on. I appreciate having me over here.
Yeah, no problem, man. So again, as I kind of touched in the soft intro of this video, is that when the Browns signed Anthony Walker, like I didn't know that much about him before they signed him, but when they signed him, there was like it was a massive outpouring of, oh man, we're gonna miss Anthony Walker from Darius Leonard, from former players, and then just from fans of the team. So for people who aren't familiar, like Browns fans are, of Anthony Walker and what he does, just try to like put that in context. Why was it such a deep kind of rift there? Well, not a rift, but a deep kind of love there for him in Indy.
Oh, this is a multi-layered answer here because it goes deeper than just the player on the field. Anthony Walker grew up. His father is a coach for football. He wants to be a coach when he retires from the NFL. When he's done, he wants to be a coach. So he especially has incredible football IQ. And so just as that on the field, he is a very, very smart guy. And what he brought to the Colts defense from day one was the assurance that guys on the field were always going to be in the right place at the right time and knowing what to do on plays. You didn't get busted coverages very much with Anthony Walker because before the balls even snapped, because of his film work that week on his own, not even with coaches, sitting at home doing film work on these guys on the teams that he's getting ready to play. He's able to see what the play possibly could be before the balls even snap. And he's getting guys, his corners, his linebackers, his defensive linemen, whatever, in the right place to cover said play. Now, that coincides with why a lot of these players like Kenny Moore and Darius Leonard love him so much because he is a team guy. He's not the most athletic linebacker in the NFL. He's a great run stopping middle Mike linebacker, right? But because of how well he knows the sport in general, especially on the defensive side of the field, he's able to get those athletic players that are on your team to be even that much better. He raises the level of those players. Darius Leonard, when he came in after his rookie season, straight up told everybody in an interview, I wouldn't be the player I am today if it wasn't for Anthony Walker Jr. Setting me off to the side, showing me the ropes, getting me into things, setting me up in the right position, showing me how to, come off a block or something like that so I can make these plays. Anthony Walker is just a team player and incredibly smart. Like I said, he is a coach on the field. So anytime you have a player like that, he's not only going to end up being a favorite in the locker room and on the field, but a fan favorite as well. Because, when you have a locker room guy that everyone else loves, then that kind of bleeds on into the fan base as well.
So it sounds like this guy's like kind of it's a cliche. Everybody kind of says it about some linebackers, but it's like, it seems like he's an extra coach almost. You know what I mean? Like he kind of plays that role. He obviously plays on the field as well, but it seems like his value for the team is more about what he brings and everything else. And then also what he brings as a linebacker. Is that kind of a correct assessment?
Oh yeah, definitely. I 100% agree with that assessment.
Okay, so when you talk about like how he's helped Darius Leonard and everything, how do you think he can kind of translate that to other young linebackers who might not be as talented as a Darius Leonard, but still have some potential? Because there are a couple guys here in Cleveland, Jacob Phillips, who had a decent rookie year but didn't really play that much, and then there's Mack Wilson, who we've been kind of waiting on to take that step, but has issues when it comes to having the right instinct or reading the play properly or just being in the right spot. How does somebody like Anthony Walker, how does that work when he helps his linebackers?
Okay, so there's a lot of things go into that. What he does is he'll go in on a Monday morning after a game, and when other players are out there just celebrating or trying to recuperate from that game, and he's just burning that midnight oil on the film. And then when Tuesday or Wednesday comes, when it's time to get into whether it's the walkthroughs or whatnot for the team, he'll bring this knowledge to the linebackers and say, look, these are tendencies that we need to watch for this team that we're getting ready to play, so that, if you see a counter or something of that nature with an offensive play or a screen, a redirectional screen that happens, then these players expect to see it now because they've seen it on film, and Walker walks them through that every week. And then, of course, like I said, he's not the most athletic, but he's very good at coming downhill, getting off blocks, and making tackles. And he does that with how he is able to get in, use his hands, and keep his arm length away from blockers, things like that, so that guys can't get their hands on him and actually get a full-size block on him. He'll share this information with guys around him. A lot of players come into the NFL with incredible athleticism. Not always like Darius Leonard, as you say, but still good athleticism. But they aren't able to make the plays because they can't get off blocks, or they can't, or they end up running into their own players, or in the wash, as I like to call, between the offensive and defense, that line, that wash where all the bodies are crammed together. They can't get through that. He'll teach these guys over time how to be able to maximize their effort on the field. And that is something that that's why it's sad to say, it's one of the reasons why the Colts don't really need him as much anymore, because he has taught the linebackers, the young guys like that now. And we've got more athletic linebackers who has learned from him. It's sad. I hate to see Anthony Walker go. He's a fan favorite of the Colts. Of myself, I was so upset when he got signed. Not that he got signed with the Browns, but the money that was signed. I thought he deserved a whole lot more than that.
Oh yeah. So you kind of touched on what I want to transition to next, which is, the fact that he was a free agent, that he did get away from the Colts. Was that just kind of him being such a good teammate that he gave some of the tools that kept him in the rotation to some of these more athletic guys, and they kind of just ran out of a use for him? And is he somebody who, I think right now the Browns are looking to replace BJ Goodson as their Mike linebacker, pretty much going to be out there almost every play? Is he somebody who fills that role, or is he somebody who you want to kind of keep in a rotation?
Okay, so here's the deal. The reason why Anthony Walker's not a Colt right now is a little bit of a lot of stuff. You guys know a lot about good drafting, obviously, because your GM and our GM, Dorsey and Ballard, are actually really close friends. Ballard is very good at drafting linebackers. And so we have a very deep roster when it comes to the linebacking core. And the issue is Anthony Walker served his rookie contract. And during that time, Ballard brought in a lot of good young guys like Darius Leonard, Bobby Okereke, EJ Speed, a bunch of different guys. And they're quicker and faster than Anthony Walker. But Anthony Walker was able to show them the ropes. And now there's very little, I think, after 4 years that he could probably show them anymore. He's taught them how to break film down and do the things that he was doing already. So yes, in a way, that is a reason he kind of coached himself out, but he wanted to leave. The rumor is he wanted to leave because he wanted to get more snaps. The Colts play a lot of nickel, mostly nickel. And when you're playing a nickel and you have two linebackers on the field, you need both those linebackers to be coverage linebackers generally. And since Bobby Okereke is more athletic and better against the pass, then you're going to see Okereke and Leonard, and not as much with Walker on the field in the base 4-3. So Walker wanted more playing time, and that's why he left. I'm understanding that's the reason why he signed with the Browns. They need a good Mike out there, and I think that he'll do a very good job with the Browns.
So one of the things is interesting, right? Because when we talk about him, it's almost like we're talking about like a 10-year vet, right? Because of how he kind of carries himself. But he is a younger player. He's coming off of his rookie deal. He's in his mid-20s. Do you see him? Is there potential for him to grow as a player and become even better given extended snaps that he's going to see here in Cleveland? And if so, what areas do you think he can really blossom in as a linebacker?
Well, as a linebacker, he's already a solid. I think he's a top 5 run-stopping linebacker in the NFL right now. I really do. He's led the team in tackles a couple times with Darius Leonard on the team as well. Last year, he had less snaps than Darius Leonard, but more tackles. So that says something. Excuse me. As I said earlier, Walker had issues in pass coverage when he first came into the NFL, and it's something that he has slowly gotten better at year after year after year. However, there is a limit because he is not, as I said, the fastest, most athletic, type linebacker. He's that guy, like I'm not going to say he is on the level of Ray Lewis, but that style of linebacker, right in the middle, make sure you get the hard tackle downhill.
More of a thumper,
exactly. He can still, as I said, he is still getting better in coverage. He got an interception against Baker Mayfield last year, right? In the game against the Browns. So and 2 pass deflections on top of that in that game. So he is getting better. I think he can get even better just because of the fact of how smart he is. And he himself is still learning when it comes to recognizing plays. Even as good as he is, he's getting better and better year after year at just recognizing plays. I've watched a play last season where it was a counter where it looked like that it was supposed to be a run towards the left tackle, and the entire defense moved left except Anthony Walker, and he just sat there and watched as the wide receiver come around the backside, and it was a wide receiver screen on the other side of the field. Walker took off before the quarterback pulled the ball back. He took off the opposite direction and hit that wide receiver right as the ball hit him for like a 4-yard loss. And this is stuff that he's learning now. This is something that happened last year. I expect him to get even better at stuff like that over the next couple seasons.
That's awesome to hear. All right. So, because one of the issues that the Browns had, especially you brought it up, was that they just could not get aligned properly. And, they added him, they added John Johnson. Yeah. And then they added, they already have Ronnie Harrison they traded for. Those are 3 really smart football players and 3 guys who, if you need them to call plays, they can call plays on the defensive side and kind of wear that dot for you. So I think that's going to be a tremendous add for this defense because this has been an issue for a little while there. But the last thing I want to get to you and talk about is you are a Colts fan. You do cover the Colts. This is a team that's going to be competing, worst case scenario, probably AFC wild card for the Browns, or, we're just kind of in the same playoff bracket. What is the view of the Cleveland Browns from the outside looking in? Like, as a Colts fan, how do you look at the Browns? And, if you have the Browns pop up on your schedule, what are you telling yourself before that game?
Okay, so if you asked me this 2 years ago, I'd say it's the Browns, right? Because you guys have had a very good offensive roster for a few years now. And it just seemed like there was something in the air in Cleveland that was keeping the Browns from taking that next step. Last year, I saw the Browns take that next step. And they seem like not only are they getting talent, but they're believing in themselves and showing it on the field now. I honestly, in my personal opinion, I think the Browns are probably currently the third best team in the AFC. I think they're just behind the Bills and the Chiefs. I think they're the best team in the North. Now that's including with the free agency moves that they've done so far this year as well. The only issue that I have is how are these? I understand that Anthony Walker and John Johnson and Hill and the other guys that were acquired through free agency. You guys have a Malik Jackson and stuff. I understand that they've played well in their past, but again, moving to a different team, you don't know how they're going to play. I want to see how they play on that team because personnel around you, the coaching, the scheme, things of that. There's so many different aspects that can dictate whether a player can succeed or not. So I want to see that, but I expect the Browns to be divisional leaders this upcoming 2021 season.
A home playoff game would be nice to be the first one since I think the first one since they come back in 1999. So we'll see if that happens. Lawrence, I want to thank you for coming on here. Let them know where to find you, man.
Oh, thank you. I'm Lawrence Owen. I host the Colts Law podcast. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Colts_law. I am also on YouTube, Lawrence Owen. Do a lot of different streams almost daily, not only covering the Indianapolis Colts, but the entire NFL as well.
All right, man. Thank you again for coming on. And again, guys, thank you for watching. Have a great day. Have a good night.